Today I'm going to share with you a really great and easy recipe for a caramel custard. And you're going to make the caramel from scratch by combining a half a cup of sugar with some water in a saucepan over like a medium-high heat. The water is really just there to help the sugar dissolve and dissolve all of the crystals. So the original recipe does call for a cup of water, but you just have to boil off all of that water. So I'm adding much less than a cup of water because it's only half a cup of sugar. You just want to dissolve your sugar crystals into the water, get them completely dissolved, and then stop doing anything. Don't stir it. You can swirl the pan a little bit as it starts to caramelize, but you really don't want to do too much. The bubbles are starting to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more slow moving. That's how you know your sugar is starting to cook. It hasn't changed color at all yet, but it's gonna start changing color soon. And when it does, it goes really fast. So this is not the time to leave your stove. You gotta stand here and you gotta watch it, but it doesn't take too long. So what usually happens is that the caramel starts cooking from the outside in, but because of where the heat is concentrated on this burner, it's actually starting on the inside and going out. So I'm still allowed to swirl though. So it's starting to look close. This is the kind of scary part because the caramel is super duper dark and you have to pour cold half and half into your pan. It's gonna bubble up like crazy. If you're not careful, it will completely boil over. The cold half and half might make the caramel set just a little bit, but don't worry because you have to bring it back to temperature and heat it up. So it's gonna get little lumps, which will dissolve as you bring your mixture back to a boil. So now I'm feeling that there are solidified caramel bits on the bottom of my pan, and I'm gonna bring my mixture back to a boil to absorb all of that solidified caramel. While this is coming to a boil, I'm gonna get my egg mixture ready, and that's what's gonna thicken my custard in the oven. I have 8 egg yolks here. To that, I'm adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and a 1/4 teaspoon of coarse salt. Give it a stir. And right when you're about ready to add your hot cream mixture, you're gonna add a half a cup of sugar. You don't wanna add it too soon because what happens is the sugar crystals and the egg yolks react together and they make these weird lumps. We call it cooking it, even though technically it's not cooking it, and you don't wanna do it too far ahead or you ruin all your yolks. So I'm gonna wait to add my sugar until my half and half mixture is almost ready to add. All right, it's coming to a boil, so I'm gonna turn it off, add my sugar. It's another half a cup of sugar to the egg yolks. Stir it in, and then you wanna gradually add your caramel mixture to this sugar and egg yolk mixture. You can ladle it in, you can gradually pour it in if you feel okay with that. You just wanna make sure that you gradually add it so you don't cook your egg yolks. And that time I mean, you really don't want to cook your egg yolks, and when I say cook, I mean really cook. So just gradually add it. You can add a little bit at a time. Give it a stir. This is called tempering. It's slowly increasing the temperature of the egg yolks so that you can add a hot mixture to egg yolks without cooking it. If you added it all at once, you would end up with little bits of cooked egg, which totally ruins the texture of your custard. Because I'm going to be baking these, I have my oven preheating at 325. I'm not going to return this custard mixture to the pot. Normally I would return it to the pot and I would cook it until it's thick there, but this is a baked custard and so there's no need to do that. So you just gradually add your hot half and half mixture, and just for safety's sake I like to strain this through a fine sieve, and that will remove any bits of egg that may have cooked and made little lumps. Inevitably it happens, so you want to get rid of those. And then you can transfer it to the dishes. These are 6-ounce ramekins, and I have them in a baking dish just large enough to hold them. Pour the mixture evenly between the ramekins. Wow, it's so nice. What a beautiful color, right? You want to remove some of this foam on the top because that will actually bake onto the top and then your custards will not be smooth on top. So you can remove it with a spoon. One of the tricks that professional chefs use when they have bubbles in their custard mixture is they run a torch over the top, and the torch, the fire, pops all the bubbles. But I'm going low tech here and just using a spoon because this is actually very, very frothy. You can also just let it sit for like an hour. But who has an hour to let their custard sit before they go in the oven? So have your oven at 325 degrees and have some water boiling, because in order to make sure that these cook really evenly and slowly, what you're going to want to do is add boiling water to come about halfway up the sides of the custard ramekins, and then put it into the oven covered and bake it until they're just set in the center. That'll take about 40 to 45 minutes. When you take them out of the oven, you're going to want to let them cool and then refrigerate until they're completely cold, at least 3 hours, and like up to 3 days. So you can totally make these ahead, which is great if you're having a party. Oh, look at the custard. Look at it. Look at it. Amazing, silky amazingness. It's amazing twice. That's how amazing it is. Oh my gosh. Wow. It's silky, it's caramelly, it's totally make ahead. It's a gift from me to you. Enjoy.